Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sports Corner, episode 5. I'm your host, JB. I'm here with my co-host.
Day three.
We got a good little episode for you guys. This is our first attempt at the virtual podcast, so make sure to bear with us. But we're going to get straight to it. This podcast is going to focus on the NBA playoffs. Round one's already done with. We're on to the conference semifinals. But we're going to give you a little recap of the first round series and then talk about the second round series. Some of the games have already happened. But to start out with round one, I want to talk about the Knicks 76ers series. Me personally, I thought this was the best one, most competitive of round one. The only thing that would have made it better is if it went to game 7. But the point spread in this one was 650 to 641. So the Knicks only covered them by 1 point. Jalen Brunson, 35.5 points, 9 assists. Josh Hart, 16.8 points, 12.3 rebounds, 5.5 assists. OG Anunoby, 15 points, 6.8 rebounds, 1.3 blocks. What do you think about the Knicks' performance this series and how they were able to take care of the 76ers?
I think the Knicks played great. I think it was definitely Jalen Brunson's coming out party for, becoming a superstar in his league. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we really our cap to the way the Knicks, put this team together by grabbing guys like OG Anunoby at the trade deadline. And also just how well their role players played. Josh Hart becoming one of the best offensive rebounders in this NBA playoffs. And then just the tough shot making that Dante DiVincenzo has, and the fact that he's willing to take those clutch shots and those important shots. He really hits those. That's the ones that like the opposing team really feels. So I think we just got to tip our caps to the Knicks overall. As I feel like they outplayed the 76ers.
Yeah, for sure. It really sheds light on that trade they made during the trade deadline when they got rid of RJ Barrett, who was this 18-point per game scorer. Many looked at as maybe the number 2 on this team, number 3 to Julius Randle. They take him out and bring in a more versatile defender, a guy who can rebound at all times, and he can also score on the offensive end. So it just highlights his impact and why they brought him in, because he averaged 1.3 blocks for this series, so that shows you the defense that he brings. And I think they made a smart decision because I feel like when you have a smaller point guard or like a smaller guard, it's better to have bigger wings that can defend and take on those matchups. Would
You
you
have to,
agree?
yeah, you have to, because I mean you're already outman
Mm-hmm.
with the smaller guard. Of course, he's going to bring it all back on the offensive end. But when it comes to like rotation, switching on screens and things like that, you need to have longer wings. Something kind of like what the Timberwolves do with Mike Conley at point guard, still having longer wings around him
For
and everything
sure.
like
Yeah. Jalen Brunson becomes the first player since Michael Jordan to put up 4 straight 40-point games. So that's huge for them. It really shows him as a superstar. And for the series, Joel Embiid averaged 33 points, 10.8 rebounds, 5.7 assists. Tyrese Maxey, 29.8 points, 6.8 assists, and 5.2 rebounds. Tyrese scores 46 points in the Game 5 win, including a big 3 to tie it up, but only 17 points in the closeout. And then you have Joel on the opposite side, who scored 39 points in the closeout, but only 19 points in the Game 5. It was a triple-double, however, but it came with 9 turnovers. How would you evaluate the Sixers play and how they perform this series?
I think a big part of this series goes on, at least the elimination game goes on Tobias Harris. I think he needs to go ahead and get his bags ready to get past to go ship to a different team. Yeah,
Yep.
because he's not earning that contract and he's not getting it done, bro. But I think Joel did a
Tobias
great.
over me?
Yeah, no, seriously, like. I think Joel did a great job, for what he could do, being on one leg,
Hmm.
things of that. I think it really just shows how, the construction of teams, and even though you don't have the name on your team, being able to put a great team together that meshes well, I feel like that's what the Knicks did, and that's what the 76ers are like right now. So they got to get back to the drawing board, back to the process, and trying to find a lineup and a group of guys that can, revolve around Embiid and Maxey, because those are two great players, and get a team together that mesh well with them, and they can, come back to the postseason next year.
Yeah, for sure. I actually saw some potential targets for them. One of them was Paul George.
Heard about
Uh,
that too.
yeah, because he's coming on to the last year of his contract, I believe. So he's a free agent. I think that would honestly be a great pick because, I mean, you really can't get worse than what Tobias Harris did. You know what I
Can't.
mean? I believe he scored zero. Was it 0 points?
I think so. Yeah, I could have
Yeah.
done. You could. I'd be more of a threat than that.
Yeah, I'd go out there and score 0 points. I'd
Right.
probably get a rebound. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it just goes. I saw this meme where it was like Tobias Harris when you need him, and it was a J. Cole in a 12 jersey. So that just kind of showed his play throughout the series.
So,
I think they could have. I think they would benefit well if they would have just kept Jimmy Butler.
Oh
I
yeah, for
think
sure.
I think he would have been the big piece that was missing. But if you had a player like Paul George, at least he'll get shots up in an elimination game. You know what I mean? So I think that could only benefit them. But I think it would be best for them to go after like a big wing that can score points, defend, since you have like a guy like Tyrese Maxey, Kyle Lowry as your guard rotation, things like that. Another stat I want to point out is that Josh Hart became second most among players 6'4" or shorter in NBA playoff history to average 12.3 rebounds. So he has the second most rebounds of all players 6'4" or shorter. That just shows you the impact that he has. And they play him. They play him like the whole game.
I was just about to say, like, I mean, he plays the whole game, and the thing about the Knicks is they play gritty, tough basketball, Villanova basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I mean, it's just hustle. It's just who wants it more, and Josh Hart got that it factor when it comes to that.
Yeah, for sure. It's like at this point, I feel like as soon as the ball comes up, you need to just find Josh.
You gotta. I mean, it's that's rebounding 1-on-1. You know what I'm saying? Go
Mm-hmm.
find the body. But like in the league, oftentimes players forget about that because they're at such a high level that they forget the basics and just go find the body and boxing out.
Exactly. We're gonna move on here to the Timberwolves Suns series. This one, clean sweep. Tragic for the Suns fans, but Anthony Edwards during this series averages 31 points, 8 rebounds, 6.3 assists. Also had three straight 40-point games, including this game one versus the Nuggets. He was actually the first player since Kobe, or the youngest player since Kobe, to put up two straight 40-point games, which just shows to his impact and the growth he's had this year. Karl Anthony Towns, 19.3 points, 9.5 rebounds. Jaden McDaniels, who was huge, he guarded Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and KD all series. He 14.3 points. Rudy Gobert, 15 points, 11 rebounds. What do you think of the Timberwolves overall and the statement that they made against a team like the Suns?
Like you said, man, it's a statement. I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
play basketball in every facet you can play it in, bro. And I think it was, Anthony Edwards just slowly becoming the face of the NBA, man, at a
Hey,
very at a very, very young age. But the Timberwolves are dangerous, and I think they showed that in this first round, and that they're not scared of anybody. So I think
nobody.
they got a threat. They're a threat to win it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Anthony Edwards, he's really evolving into a leader. You can see it in his interviews. He's calling out teammates, and the teammates are responding to him. Like you can tell that they've given him that role, and they're listening to what he's saying. And he's only 22, so that just shows you the growth that he's had as a player and as a leader and as an impact guy in the locker room,
Right.
and how good he is of a person to build around. But for the series, also KD I mean, I don't want to say only, but KD averages 26.8 points. He had two 30-point games. D Book 27.5 points, 6 assists in the first three games, and then 49 points in the elimination game. Bradley Beal, he's really the story of this series, I think. Only averaging 16.5 points throughout the series, and only had one game above 20 points. What do you think of the play of the Suns here? And do you think Bradley Beal might be to blame?
I think it's hard to put it all on one player. I mean, he definitely has a lot of fault in it, though. However, but I
Mm-hmm.
also think it's hard for him in that system that they run, having those three guys and having a very stagnant offense, and it's more of a here you get it ISO. If you score, you get it back. No players really able to get in the rhythm pretty well, and
Mm-hmm.
also the way the way the team was constructed. They're lacking a lot of role players. They're lacking guys that can defend. So I think it's more on the Suns organization and the way that they built the team more than it is on Bradley Beal, just
Mm-hmm.
because of how hard it is for him to fit into his role and really get into a groove playing with those guys.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not gonna lie. Right at the beginning of game one, I instantly wanted to take back my pick of the Suns. When I saw
Yeah,
Eric Gordon go line up against Anthony Edwards, I was like, "Oh, they're cooked."
yeah, they're done
They don't
for.
have they don't have any primary ball defenders.
Nothing.
They were guarding him with Devin Booker, Grayson Allen in the first game, Eric Gordon. Like these aren't these baby food.
Yeah, they
This
just they,
barbecue chicken.
they were just guarding them with bodies. They weren't really guarding them with defenders
And they weren't playing team defense either.
at all. No rotations, no none
Yeah,
of that.
you can't let a player like Anthony Edwards just go 1-on-1 all game.
You're gonna kill you.
He gonna kill you. Did you also see when their owner said that 29 of the league's teams would want their roster?
Nah. Hey,
I
that's
can think
that's
of. at least 10 that don't
Yeah.
off the top. But yeah, rough showing for the Suns, great showing for the Timberwolves, and they led their momentum right into the next series, and we'll talk about that later. I know this was a tough one for you. We got the Nuggets Lakers series. They end
Is
up
what it is.
losing 4-1. Or what's your initial thoughts on this series before I even say any other stats?
I mean, bro. I mean, honestly, we just got out, man. I mean, the Nuggets are a better team, but it's just hard because we're winning every single game. We led every single game,
Yeah.
but I mean, the Nuggets. I really feel like the Nuggets understood that they were a better team than us, so that it felt like at any given moment when they were ready to turn it on, they just turned it on, and there was nothing we could do about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Lakers, we got a lot of thinking to do when it comes to our team and what we're gonna do. We had a lot of no shows and moments where we needed people to show up.
hmm
So it's tough, man. It's tough, but I think at the end of the day, I mean, the better team just won.
Yeah. I saw, speaking of no shows, I saw like, I can't remember all three players, but I know like Spencer Dinwiddie and Gabe Vincent through like the first three games, they had 0 points, which is terrible. It's like completely opposite of the Knicks. Their trade deadline targets don't show up at all. Yeah, and it's hard to win like that, especially with, and you have LeBron and AD. They had a good series.
They both did right.
LeBron averaged 27.8 points, 8.8 assists, 7 rebounds. AD 27.8 points, 15.6 rebounds. Like your two star players are putting output like that.
Right.
I don't really know what else. Like you got somebody's got to step up. And another point I want to add on to the Suns thing that we were talking about, the way they constructed their team. Basically, the only way that they would have success is if all of their scores are over 25.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard to see a world in a 7 game series and every game each player scores 30. That's just not how basketball works, especially
Exactly.
especially in the playoffs.
Yeah. You can't rely on that. But yeah, it was similar case here. Their star players are showing up, but their role players aren't being as consistent. Like I believe a player like Rui Hachimura, he had less than 9 points in every game, other than the
Playing like,
closeout.
playing like trash.
Trash. And he was a big piece of why they went far last year. So it's
Exactly.
like a player like him, you're expecting that same consistency, and then he doesn't show up. Um, Jokic for the series averaged 28.2 points, 16.2 rebounds, 9.8 assists. Jamal Murray 23.6 points, 7.2 assists, and then he gives 32 points in the closeout.
Yeah.
A big piece for them, I thought, was Michael Porter Jr. What have you thought about his play recently?
I'm talking. He gonna get him up and he gonna make them. You know,
hmm
I I think Gilbert Arenas said he out there playing for his brothers. He out there playing for his last name.
he said he gonna score points for all of them.
Yeah, cause that's what it feel like, bro. That's really what it feel like. I mean, that's that key piece and that key player that you need to win games, win series, and win championships. Cause it's the player that teams I wouldn't say are. It's not that they're not worried about, but you understand that teams are going to scout your two best players first, and they're going to live with a Michael Porter Jr. beating you. And I mean, if that's what you're going to live with, I guess that's what you're going to live with. But Michael Porter Jr. is going to shoot you out the gym, like he said, kind of shot he don't like, and it's
We know that. Nah, yeah, there's definitely. I don't think I've ever seen him pass up a shot. And it's funny because like the assist that he does get, he pump fakes first.
oh yeah, he gonna pass out.
He like my career player. All he want to do is shoot. Next series we want to talk about is Mavs Clippers. I predicted the Mavs, to win this one. You know what I'm saying? But Luca goes 29.8 points, 9.5 assists, 8.8 rebounds. He was plus 28 in Game 5, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie Irving, 26.5 points, 5.7 rebounds. He had a 40-point game in Game 4, even though they lost. Daniel Gafford, 3 blocks in Game 3 and 13 and 6 in Game 6 when they needed him. So he played a big role. I thought he played a huge role because in the first game, they got kind of dominated in the paint in that loss. But then
Right.
he came right back out Game 2 and was setting the tone. So
Mhm.
what'd you think about the Mavs performance in this series?
Man, I think the Mavs played great, and I feel like this is the best we've seen them play. I feel this is the best brand of basketball we've seen them play. As the playoffs brought the defense out of
Yeah, they did.
defense. And Kyrie and Luca are working really well off each other, and the Mavs got something going. I think
Yeah.
I think I think some teams should be worried about him.
Oh, really? No, yeah, they're definitely a scary team, and I think they last year they were trying to figure out how to play Luka and Kyrie together, but I
Hmm.
think they kind of got like a little thing. They go, Luka, you go crazy first half, Kyrie, you take over second half, and I feel like Luka's never really had that guy where he can. And well, Jalen Brunson did it, but they didn't trust him as much as he's trusted
Yeah,
now. But
they didn't have as much respect for Jalen Brunson as they do for Kyrie
hmm
right
yeah, but Luka can literally just sit on the bench and watch Kyrie work.
now.
You know
Yep.
what I mean? He's never been able to just do that. So I think them playing together and then you add size behind them, I think that's been everything for them. Because like you said, they're playing defense now, which
Right.
is huge. Like Kyrie's getting after it, he's diving for loose balls,
He hustling.
hustling. So yeah, I think if they can play like that, they're definitely a scary team for sure. Um, but yeah, James Harden, 21.2 points, 8 assists. He had a 33-point game in game 4, but only 7 points in game 5 and 16
Ain't
points in game 6.
happen.
Yeah. What do you think led to the Clippers fall off in this series? Was it James? Was it Paul? Was it both?
I think to start, I think the biggest thing is that man, Kawhi's not healthy. I
Yeah.
mean, Kawhi's not healthy, and like I was just kind of talking about, it's important for a team to know everybody to know their role and to know who the number one guy is, and that's their guy. That's their number one guy. And in watching the game, sometimes it looks like all five players on the court really didn't know what to do without Kawhi being there with them and not having their leader. So I think that was the biggest thing. But I mean, James Harden, you say that you're only playing this point guard role because you have to. Kawhi goes down, they need
That's
you
your
to.
time.
Yeah, that's your time to be who you really are, to be what you are. Paul George. I think a problem with Paul George is, earlier in the year he came out and said, like, I'm the number two. I'm deferring to be the number two. I like being the number two option. Paul George, Kawhi isn't playing anymore. You got to go get to it. You got to go get a bucket. And, I mean, it's just another case of, I ain't gonna lie, just James Harden and Paul George coming up short in the playoffs, bro.
Yeah. And it sucks for me because I'm a huge Paul George fan, but
Right.
yeah, he goes 6 for 18 in game 6.
Ain't happening. I tuned
Can't
into
have
the
it.
podcast. I love Paul George, but he got to be better.
Yeah, he's got to be better. And then the games that they played with Kawhi, they still looked lost.
Right. It's just
Yeah.
no mesh there, bro.
hmm
Like in the playoffs, you got to be able to play as a team. That's the most important time. Everything got to be clicking on all cylinders, and
Yep.
everything stagnant. It still look like first first month of the regular season.
Kyrie, his shooting splits for this series was 50, 40, and 90. If you guys aren't sure what that means, 50% field goal percentage, 40% from the three, and 90% from the free throw line. This really just goes to show you how locked in your secondary guy is shooting 50, 40, 90 on the volume that he was shooting. It
Hmm?
just shows you how locked in he is right now. I think he's found the perfect role because I feel like Luka's a similar type player to LeBron. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And like how he's a focal point on offense, but he also spreads the ball out, gets the whole team involved,
right.
and takes on all the leadership roles. So I feel like Kyrie has basically found that same thing he did in Cleveland. That's he's basically in the same role.
Yep.
And what he
My
doing in Cleveland thrived.
yep.
I feel like he's doing that. I feel like history is just repeating itself.
I think that's a great comparison. I haven't thought about it like that.
hmm Yeah, and so we'll just have to see how far they go. But the last thing we want to do is just give our predictions for how the conference semifinals we think are going to go. So I'm gonna start with the Pacers Knicks. Who do you think will end up winning this one? And how many
Um,
games do you think it's gonna take?
yeah, right. So next one, game one was in.
Yeah, it was
I'll say I'll go.
Knicks in 6.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take. I'm gonna go Knicks in 5.
next is five.
I'm gonna go Knicks in 5. I
I
think.
mean, it's
I think the Pacers will probably win Game 3
all
at
right.
home, but I think the rest of them the Knicks are gonna get it because I
Yeah,
think. I think
it
it's
really,
gonna
you
be.
really high.
You said what?
I say you really high.
I'm really. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm real high on the Knicks. I
Yeah,
think they're a great team. I think they got all the right pieces. And if Jalen can keep playing like he's playing, that's formula for success.
yeah,
But yeah, I think the Knicks win this one in 5, and I think most of the games go like they were tonight, where the Pacers go on big runs just because of how fast they play. But I think the Knicks ultimately weather that storm like they did in Game 1.
right.
What's your predictions for the Cavs Celtics? We already kind of heard it, but
Celtics in 4.
Celtics in 4.
Celtics in 4.
Okay. I'm gonna give him 5. I'm gonna give him 5. I think Donovan Mitchell probably pop off for 50 about game 3 or 4, maybe 2. So I think he'll get a little 50 piece, and then that'll be the game they win.
Yeah.
But yeah, Celtics got that one easy.
Mm-hmm.
OKC Mavs. I'm gonna let you start on this one. Then I'm gonna get my take.
Mavs and 7.
Mavs and 7, for sure. Hey, what's your reasoning behind that?
Experience.
Experience.
I'm gonna put it all on experience, and you trust me, Kyrie. Like I'm trusting Kyrie and what I go.
For this series, I think I'm gonna hold true with the Thunder. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think that first round was big for us because, and I think the road just lined up perfectly for us because we were able to play a lesser team in round 1 to get our feet wet because we had never been in the playoffs. Like you can tell, game 1 we were missing a lot of shots. We looked nervous because we're playing a lesser team. We're able to still get the win. So I think being able to learn through wins was big for us in the last series, and I think we'll have all the confidence in the world coming into series 10. And so I think we'll just take that and build on it. The only other time we should be nervous is the conference finals.
So how many games these?
I think it'll either be 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I think J-Dub will boost his point total though by at least 2.
You think he'll be like factor?
Yeah. I think he'll be, because look, I think you're gonna look over and see that their best defender in PJ Washington is on Shea. And then he's going to look at the guy in front of him and the rest of the team, and he's going to realize that no one can guard him. That's basically what I think it's going to come down to. He's going to be like, oh, you're giving Shea that much respect? I'm going to show you who I am.
Right.
And I'm predicting at least one 27 to 30-point game from J-Dub.
I think that's possible. That's very possible.
I think it'll be big on Chet. Chet's got to protect the rim.
Yeah. Chet, Dave Gafford going to get a little work.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I know Daniel will try to give him some work, but I think our benefit is that they don't really have scoring bigs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Playing a team like Jonas Valanciunas, or like if we were playing the Clippers and Zubac, or like Jokic, players, or Anthony Davis, well, I think we'll put a lot of pressure on Chet. But I think if he's playing big that isn't as scoring, they're mostly just lob threats, rollers, it'll keep him out of foul trouble, and it'll allow him to do what he does, which is protect the rim against the guards and things like that. And I think most of the scoring from the Mavericks comes from their backcourt, right?
It does.
And so, our team is built to stop the backcourt.
It is.
We literally have nothing but perimeter defenders. So we have Shea, obviously Lou Dort. We got Jalen. We got J-Dub. We got Cason Wallace. He a rookie, but he wise beyond his years.
Yep.
So we got him. We got Aaron Wiggins. We got Kenrich Williams. So basically everybody is two-way players on our team.
Right.
And then we got Chet. And I also think that, you saw in Jonas Valanciunas, he was bullying Chet in the beginning. But we basically played him off the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we can get players like Lively, Daniel Gafford to step out from the basket, where they're a little less comfortable, and they have to step out from the basket, that just opens up the middle of the court where we like to operate.
Right.
And I also think that they're missing Kleba right now.
They are.
He was big in that game 5 threes,
Yeah.
And so he's their small ball big. So if we can force him to go smaller, I think we're definitely the best small ball team in the league. Just because that's basically our identity. So if we can get him into uncomfortable lineups, check and stay healthy, and J-Dub puts the world on notice, then I think we can end up winning the series.
It's possible. Of course, I think both are great teams. That's why I said it. I think it's going to go 7 either way. In the game 7, I'm going to take the Mavericks over the Thunder.
But yeah, that's how I'm feeling. We'll have to see how it shakes out. Game 1 today. Nuggets Timberwolves. What's your thoughts on this? I know we only got 2 games out of the way, but what's your thoughts?
I'm gonna get the Nuggets a game just because they are the current champs, and the fact I don't think they will go outside and get swept. So I'm gonna go Timberwolves in 5.
Timberwolves 5.
But
Kinda
the
thinking
thing
the
about it is, right? I think the Nuggets will get a game in Minnesota, and I think it'll be really hard for the Timberwolves to close out Denver in Denver in a game 5. So it makes me want to pick between Timberwolves in 5 or 6. So
I'm gonna go 6.
yeah, I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 5. I'm gonna stick with 5.
Look. I either think it's 6 or a sweep.
Yeah, yeah. The Nuggets got to get one, right?
I mean, I feel like they should be able to, but like, we just never seen a team.
I'm not gonna lie. If Jamal Murray gets suspended for Game 3, Timberwolves in 4.
Okay, look, just came out, $100,000 fine, no suspension.
I go Timberwolves in 6.
Timberwolves in 6. Okay. All right, yeah, I'll go Timberwolves.
No, 5.
5.
5.
I got Timberwolves in 6. You got Timberwolves in 5. You got Mavs in 6 or Mavs in 7.
Mavs in 7.
I got Thunder in 6 or 7.
Yeah.
We both got the Celtics, and we both got the Knicks.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's shaping up to be a great playoffs. We're just gonna have to see how the game shakes out. This is another Sports Corner episode for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the virtual pod. There's probably a little bit of hiccups, so just bear with us. Hide, anything you want to say to the viewers?
Man, appreciate y'all. Kind of like what you touched on already. Just work with us on this virtual tour we got going on with both of us. You know what I'm saying? Being on our summer break away from school, not being able to be together. Just work with us. When we get back together, you know, it's gonna be live. It's gonna be everything y'all want. You know, we're gonna keep improving upon the setup and everything like that. Just continue to push out our content to everybody you can, just to get some more viewership, get some more eyes on us and on our platform. And we appreciate y'all, bro.
And we will have the draft recap episode coming.
Yeah.
So look out for that. Until then, Sports Corner out.